Welcome to Your House Matters. I'm John Charbonneau with TMG, the Mortgage Group, and CanadianMortgageFinders.com. Joining me today is Dan Boisvert. Dan is the owner of Notaries at Northgate in South Delta. Dan is also the president of the British Columbia Notaries Association. And today we're talking about what Dan's job as a notary is in a real estate transaction. So what's your role so that the person ends up owning the home?
Well, our role is a number of things. Predominantly, I like to think of us as we're reviewing the contract to make sure that our client gets what they bargained for. So that this contract that they signed up with their realtor, the mortgage that they signed up with their mortgage broker, that all of those pieces that they expect to be getting at the end of the day, they get. They get their house the way that they're supposed to, and that's sort of our main job.
Now, a lot of people don't know that there's a whole bunch of work that you do over a very compressed period of time. The lender sends out the instructions kind of at the last minute. So what's the work you have to do leading up to when the client comes in and signs with you?
Yeah, well, I would say the best way to think of it is that we're really building a puzzle. We've been given a number of different pieces. We've got the contract, we've got the mortgage instructions, maybe we've got some strata documents, we've got tax searches to review, title searches to review, charges that may be on title that may or may not be what we want. Yep. We're looking at all these things, and we're building this puzzle, I guess, if you will. So at the end of the day, when we get to completion, all the pieces are in place. So that way the money can change hands, and people can move in and sort of get back to their lives.
Now, if I've done my work, there's very little for me to do on the completion date. I'm just kind of sitting back waiting for a call from someone like yourself saying, hey, it all closed, everything went fine. But you have work that has to be done on the completion date. Right. What's involved on completion date?
Yeah, so completion date is, at this point, we've done all of our searches, we've done all our review, we've met with the client has signed off anywhere from 1/4 inch to 2 inches of paper, depending on the transaction. On the closing day, our job now is to essentially move the money and register all the appropriate documents at the land title office. So that's what we're doing on completion day. And once that happens, we then notify the realtors and the lenders notified that all of this is now transpired.
So the keys are handed over as a result of the realtor getting notification from you.
Correct.
But your job's not finished yet.
No,
there's still work to be done after the completion date. So
That's
what do you have to do after completion?
Yeah, so there's always odds and ends that have to be sorted out. Oftentimes there's holdbacks, or there's mortgage payouts, or there's tax arrears that have to be paid out. And what we're doing for several days after completion is making sure that those things are paid. If there is a mortgage that had to be removed from the title, that often takes lenders anywhere from 30 to 60 days. So we're holding that file open until all of it is done. So if you think about a time frame for us, if we get a contract, let's say a month prior to completion, we open that file a month prior to the completion date, and we hold that file open, and oftentimes till 2 months after the completion date. So we could really have a file open for 3 or 4 months and be working on it at periods in between all of that, from the time it's opened until the time it's closed.
Wow. Now, when people are buying a home or getting a mortgage, they've got two choices. They can go see a notary, they can go see a lawyer. Sure. What's the difference, or is there a difference between a notary and a lawyer when it comes to these real estate transactions?
Yeah, I'm going to say, practically speaking, there's nothing that the notary can't do in the transaction that the lawyer could do, or vice versa. We're both legal professionals. We're both going to use similar processes to get from A to Z. Notaries, most of their business that they do is conveyance work. So when you look at the residential conveyance market, notaries probably do about 65% or so of all the conveyances in British Columbia. So we're sort of like the specialists, I guess, if you will, and because that's what we do most of the day. I mean, that's certainly in my practice, 70% of my time is spent doing conveyancing. So we get quite good at spotting problems or dealing with issues because we do it so frequently.
Perfect. So if you have a real estate transaction taking place, preferably in the South Delta area, that's your geographic area of expertise. If somebody has a quick question, can I give you a call?
Yeah, anybody can call anytime.
Fantastic. We'll show Dan's telephone number and email address at the end of this video. Dan, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, John.
We'll see you on our next video.